views and opinions of the panel and our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host, the Good Times with Good People Company, the Loft Party Podcast, or our sponsors.
Hey, what's going on, podcasters? Let's acknowledge the good friends of the Loft Party Podcast. The Majestic Restaurant and Pendergast Club, carrying on Kansas City's tradition of great food and great jazz, 931 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. The J. Rieger Kansas City Distillery, whiskey, gin, vodka. That is, oh so good. And friend of the podcast and panelist, Lane Boland, managing to keep the podcast going. Apparently wealthy or not. Now onto our regularly scheduled program.
It's not getting in.
Welcome everybody out there in podcast land. The Good Times with Good People Company proudly presents the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. Please subscribe to the Loft Party Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and SoundCloud. Be sure to tell a friend and join in the good talk. I am your host and panel moderator, Rio, and let me introduce today's panel. First off, we have Big Dave Elliott, the owner of CMP Construction. We've got Ben Roberts, our bartender extraordinaire here at the Pendergast Club. And of course, the anonymous female. She is the right hand of the podcast, and she doesn't want you to know her name. So, first of all, everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah, busy. Packing mom up to move.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't do a whole lot. I mean, we got out a little bit. We didn't do a whole lot, though.
It was hot and we were lazy.
Yeah, and that was all that.
It was
All that it was. All that it needed to
lazy,
be.
hazy days of summer for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Anonymous female.
That is true.
I
Is true.
went to a pool party yesterday. So
Oh, okay.
it was fun.
All right.
Played. They had a raft beer pong situation.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's like a raft with little slots in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that was a nice, relaxing, drunken endeavor. Yeah, had a good time.
All right. So, what are we drinking? Let's start with Ben.
I'm drinking a Pilsner Raquel. It's a Czech, the original Pilsner.
My father had been over to Germany and had drank that and brought it back and told me about it. Excellent beer.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Really, it's just an excellent beer.
Yep.
And Big Dave?
I'm drinking the good old Majestic barrel-aged Mad Hatter. It's
Always good.
very hard to go wrong.
Always good. Anonymous female?
I'm having water today.
All right.
Quit drinking the hard stuff.
I say she is back. She is back on the hard stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Back on the water. And I actually, I've been carrying around in my bag, and I mean for a long time, and I don't know why. I had a flask full of actually what I believe to be Dewar's, which is actually Kirkland brand or Costco brand. Their Scotch. But in tasting it and color comparing it and everything else, I believe their Scotch is Dewar's. And so I am having Dewar's and tonics on the rock. And so now that we know what we're drinking, what are we smoking? And I see that Ben is abstaining from smoking today, as I am giving him the evil eye.
Yeah.
Big Dave, what are we
Looks
smoking?
like I'm the only one, so I'm smoking a La Flor Dominica again, surprise. It's a Dominican cigar. It's airbender, but I'm smoking a Panella
Okay.
tonight, so
Okay.
not smoking a big old honking cigar like I usually do.
Yeah, I haven't lit mine yet, but I am smoking an Oliva Series O today. Was in Diebel's and couldn't resist. Had to pick up a Series O. So today's topic, I thought would just be funny. The last couple of topics we had were a little weightier, and so I wanted to do something that was just kind of fun. And so today's topic is relationships. Whew, I dodged a bullet. So, of course, that means out there in podcast land, you've been in a bad relationship or two, as I think we all have. So today we're going to talk about some of the bullets that we dodged, and we may all feel like we're in good, grounded, solid relationships today, but we weren't always good, grounded, solid people.
Right.
And so I thought it would be funny to hear about some of the relationship mishaps that we've had. Girls you found out were nutbags. or men for that.
We'll say, the anonymous female will have a comment on men, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ben, boy, you got something for us?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, this person will remain anonymous. But
Yes, no names.
Right.
No names.
The no-name fee.
yeah, that's a
No
good rule to have in these discussions.
Just no names by anybody.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. A while ago, this was before Carolyn, by about 6 years or so, I was living with a woman.
He needed to preface that. It wasn't like, it's been a while.
Right.
Yeah. Well, after her, I needed some time off because
It was that bad.
I dodged a bullet. I think I was with this woman just out of, when you're in your 20s and you don't know anything, and so she was really, really good looking, but I was with her because she was really good looking and I was lonely, because sometimes you couple with somebody just because you don't like being single.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out throughout the course of our relationship that she had some trust issues. And would like to sort of dominate the relationship by controlling me with her jealousy and, channeling those trust issues. One day, I came home from work. I had left my phone at home on accident. This was kind of back in the days when everybody wasn't so attached to their phone.
Right.
So I left it at home, and she got in it and went through all of my texts and found a text from a female coworker of mine. And as the podcast, people know, I'm a bartender, and I work in restaurants, and it's a co-ed environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a text from a girl at some point in some time on some night that I was working, like, hey, we're all going out to such and such bar, babe, you want to go? And she calls everybody babe, Girlfriend finds said text, freaks out, says I'm cheating on her, screams at me for half an hour, breaks up with me, then convinces me that I can still stay with her if I can convince her that she can trust me. And I decided that I didn't want to live the rest of my life trying to convince somebody that they can trust me. There, should be a baseline of trust.
So she didn't try to find out the situation before.
No, it was.
It was just immediate.
Yeah, full blown. You're cheating on me. I
Guilty
hate you.
before.
Oh yeah. And I most certainly didn't have any relationship like that with this woman that I was working with, nor any woman, which I tried to explain on deaf ears.
It's kind of funny too, working in the restaurant, or just even really, I noticed it more having worked in that industry, but a lot of waiters, waitresses, whatever, they say babe, sweetie, honey, all the time.
Yeah.
It just
absolutely.
becomes part of their vernacular, and you don't, like.
Yeah, we're not.
When somebody's saying it that's younger than me, I'm like, you're not 60.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, you have to.
But it's an eclectic group of people in this industry.
Yeah,
and it's not
absolutely.
like we have an HR department that.
Right.
But it's not
That
even
makes
that.
you-
Okay, first of all, you're young, and it really doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
You should be able to say hun or sweetie to somebody without it being.
Yeah, turning into a thing.
And God forbid that you have friends of the opposite sex.
Exactly. Actually, my first red flag is I had a girl from high school that I was really good friends with at the time, and I made plans to go hang out with her one day, and my girlfriend and I were not like super serious yet. We were fairly serious, but exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But she got a hold of me and was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm hanging out with this girl, blah, blah. And she flipped out whenever that happened. And I just was like, well, she's my friend. Like, I'm gonna hang out with her, so that's that.
Well, yeah, and
And
it's,
she had to-
it wasn't
she had to get
like
used to it, but-
late night drinks.
Sometimes it was, but I wasn't.
But
in-
you're a bartender.
Yeah, and I wasn't in a. I had never previously had any sexual activity with this friend of mine. The way I met that friend is I was working with an organization in high school through Kiwanis, and her brother had committed suicide. So we all, like a group of my friends and I who were in this club, made a big dinner and brought it over to our house for her. You know, like a week after or something like that. You know, we didn't want to do it immediately, but.
Right.
After that happened, we just became good friends, and so I mean, this was like I've been friends with her for probably 5 years, and it was a big no-no, I guess, and that's when I was like, wow. So yeah, jealousy and control issues and stuff like that. I just don't think that you should be with anybody who accuses you of, cheating or not allowing you to spend time with friends. I mean, she would get upset if I spent too much time with just my regular guy friends too.
Yeah.
When are you coming out? When are you
Yeah.
coming out?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like-
No, that.
Yeah, very, very. Yeah, she needed to monopolize my time.
Yeah. You definitely have to go into relationships how you want to end them or
Yeah.
continue them.
Well,
And it's it's.
whenever she accused me of cheating on her that night, I moved my stuff out in about 45 minutes and never saw her again. So
Yeah.
it was just. It was, in my opinion, a sort of an emotionally abusive, controlling relationship.
Well, and good for you for doing it because it's hard to recognize when you're in it.
Yeah.
If you're in it for a while, like if you let that continue on, it just becomes your everyday life, and you don't realize it's happening anymore.
Yeah, we were.
So
and we were
good
toxic.
that you.
Yeah.
Good that you caught that early and.
Some of the fights that I had with this woman, I've never spoken like that to anybody in my entire life, and I'm ashamed of myself for even acting that way. But she just had a way of pulling toxicity.
Well, we've said that.
Oh, yeah.
Some people just bring out the crazy in each other
Yeah.
to an extent that
Yeah, you may not
you
be crazy.
You may be a great person individually, but together you do not mix.
Oh, we did not.
And you should not be together.
Yes.
I've seen that with a couple of my friends. And it's like, do you really see can you hear what you're saying?
Yeah.
Do you see what you're doing?
Yeah.
When you get to the point where you make people around you uncomfortable to be around you when you're talking to each other, that's pretty bad.
Right. I mean, there were just nights when, if she did have the opportunity to hang out with me and my friends, they didn't know if like something was going to happen.
Well, and they start pulling away.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull away. They start pulling away because they don't want to be around it.
Yeah, and I definitely spent a lot less time with them throughout the duration of that relationship. So that was unfortunate. But they were nice to bring me back in whenever that was all.
When it was over.
And whenever it
I'm
was
sure
over.
they told you how stupid you were, and
Yeah.
they're glad you.
Yeah.
Got out of
And I'm
it.
not saying that I wasn't imperfect through the entire ordeal. I know that there were things that I said and did that were probably pretty terrible. Just being a guy in my 20s, just being sort of a hard-headed dummy. But cheating on her was not one of those. So I dodged a bullet.
All right. I'm about to say, yeah. I'm about to say,
Dave's over there smiling.
Ben's fairly emphatic about this bullet, and it sounds like you're right. It sounds like you dodged.
Considering my present relationship
considering-
and how much
considering your
nicer
present-
this person is,
Yes.
I'm very emphatic about it.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah,
sweetheart.
we like her.
Yeah.
She's
Not that we met anybody else, but we like her.
yeah.
You wouldn't have liked it. Not compared to her anyway. Yeah.
Big Day?
Well, as the panel knows, I am a Yankee cooness.
All right.
All right, I spent a lot of time out east, New England, and then I've spent a lot of time in the Isles too. So, depending on my different stages of what I'm drinking, I may come out with different dialects in either way. And so, during my time down in Louisiana, I happened to meet a girl in a bar. Imagine that. And I'll call her the Cajun. So I met the Cajun down there, and if you ever been down south, the Cajun women are dark-haired, dark-eyed, beautiful, crazy-ass women. And I got me one. And She had been married before, divorced. Her husband was in the military. He divorced her in Italy and took off with another girl. I didn't understand why at the time. But she had 3 boys already. She had one at 6, one at 3. No, he's by about 5, 2, and just almost 1. So, started hanging out with her. She was okay. She was cool. We were having fun. Kind of took to the boys, you know. I got to admit I did. And she was sexually by far the most interesting woman I still to this day have met. So at a young age, that definitely gets your attention.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I didn't understand was that she was basically crazier than a shithouse rat. And so I worked offshore in the oil field, and I used to I traveled overseas quite often. So, you know, while I was dating her, I went to Egypt and the Middle East, and then I came back and did a couple jobs, and I'd go offshore and do a couple jobs, and I'd travel to Wyoming and do a couple jobs. I was always in